Now it's day 19 of war in Ukraine as Russia quickly advances towards key cities. We're looking at visuals coming in, really compelling visuals of Russia really widening its strikes in the war-torn country of Ukraine. I have with me joining on this panel Serhiy Mirankov from Kyiv. We also have Solomia Bobrovska, who's a member of the Ukrainian parliament, along with Natalia Shapoval, who's an economist based in Kyiv. Let me start with Solomia. We know that all right, we're yet to be joined by Solomia. Let me start then with Natalia. Natalia, we understand on day 19, Russia has only upped its ante. In fact, we're looking at forces inching closer at a time when Ukraine is still picking up from what's left. Many civilians, we believe, have been targeted. According to your claims, give us a sense of what you see on ground since you're based in the capital city of Kyiv.
So right now I left a little bit to the southwest from Kyiv, but still close. Many of my teammates, I have around 3 families that are in Kyiv. All of them are safe so far, but every day there are several sirens that when people have to go underground. Thankfully, near the locations where we are, there were no airstrikes. Only at the first days, there were airstrikes near the house of my mother, like in 5 minutes from where she lives. But Obolon, that was hit today, and the locations Beresteyka, that was in your video, it's kind of not where we live right now, but of course the sounds are very, like everyone can hear them. And yeah, so the Kyiv and many locations, many cities in Ukraine are destroyed right now, and it's evil that has no, nationality or anything. And I really hope I'm sure that we will win, and I hope that we will not have to lose much more lives for that.
Right, Natalia, we know that there's stiff resistance coming in from Ukraine. Civilians, they're taking up arms to guard their country. At a time like this, we're looking at Russian troops almost targeting several civilian establishments. Those are claims coming in from your own Ukrainian army. Let me cut across to Solomia, who's a member of the Ukrainian parliament. Solomia, we hear that in Kyiv, a residential area was targeted and striked again today on day 19. Please do elaborate for us.
Yes, exactly. They started to hit one of the districts in Kyiv, what actually my colleague just told. And what we expect that that Kyiv is the main target for them. And we see how they taking the siege around the Kyiv and how they are moving. Nevertheless, Kyiv is now not isolated. It's still living and working and etc. And we hope and we know for sure armed forces will defeat Kyiv for sure.
All right. From where you are currently based at, do you know that the Russian forces are just about miles away, attempting to encircle the capital city of Kyiv? As a citizen itself, as a local there, are you aware of the kind of advancements by the Russian forces? Do you hear anything? Do you feel this imminent danger? We believe in the next 24 to 48 hours, a strike is expected in the capital city of Kyiv.
Of course, we hear and we know. We are going to Kyiv lots of time, and it's usual for us. We have to go there because of the work. A lot of my colleagues, member of parliaments, they're working with their constituencies in the field with their people. There is no need to sit for us only in Kyiv, but soon we'll have the meeting in parliament, so each of us will go to Kyiv for sure. We are waiting for the date. But we know what is going on because the suburbs around the Kyiv are totally destroyed and ruined and damaged, and lots of our friends are living there. And we know how it's difficult because we evacuated lots of people from that suburbs, and still people are waiting for the evacuation. So unfortunately, yes, But today, what happened when they hit one of the districts in Kyiv? That's probably maybe for the first time they got and they hit one of the parts of Kyiv, and we think they're trying just to or to frighten people, or they will move, of course, further to shell Kyiv with air bombs, missiles, unfortunately.
Well, stay with us. I'm going to quickly bring in Serhi here. Serhi has been showing us all the reality and factual reports from on ground. Serhi, we know that many of them, thousands of them, have already fled from the city of Kyiv, the national capital. We know that there are still millions who are still there in the city. And from what we understand from the Kyiv officials is that y'all are stockpiling enough and more food to fend for at least the next 2 weeks. You're expecting this war to carry on for the next few weeks at least. There seems to be a backup plan. What is it?
Telling the truth, I think that more than for 2 weeks food can be provided in Kyiv and in Kyiv region, because for like as the Russian army was claims that they will take Kyiv in few days. Today is 19 days, and we are still working. We still have what to eat, what to drink, etc., etc. I just want to mention that there was not only one attack on the Obolon region. There was also an attack on a aircraft factory, one of the oldest, by the famous Ukrainian air constructor Antonov. There's a guy who constructed the Mria, the biggest aircraft in the world, were also destroyed by the Russian in Hostomel. More than that, in Rivne, there also was an attack on a TV tower. Just to destroy it and to close the Ukrainian networking, TV networking, for the real information. At the same time, in Melitopol, where cruelly Russian troops stole the mayor of Melitopol, they announced another woman who will be the mayor, who will take his leads, his authority, and she announced that don't worry, people, Russian digital TV channels will come soon, so retranslate your TV sets. So what we see for right now, Russians have several ideas, several tactics how to invade Ukraine. As I said before, they're taking the hostages in the civilian villages, and they're covering them as a shield against the Ukrainian army and our forces. That's why we are still on the same position as the Russians, but our air forces attacked their backs to destroy their supporting, like gasoline, like food, etc., etc., etc. Meanwhile, as you know, Russian claims that they are open water for the Crimea Peninsula, and what we see for right now, they're destroying the Mariupol. We're not talking about the humanitarian corridors right now. They destroy the city. It's in a circle, and their main idea is just to control the road, which they will use to support Crimea Peninsula and people who are starving there since they invaded in 2014. This is the situation for right now.
Right, you're saying that the attacks are only widened, and this comes even as parallelly talks have been initiated, and that's what it appears that Ukrainians are now holding on to hope, because parallelly we believe that on both sides there seems to be some kind of headway or some kind of agreement. But what is that hasn't been established, but talks are currently underway parallelly, even while Russia widens its attack in several other parts of Ukraine. Now, Natalia, as an economist, we know that the West has imposed stiff sanctions on Russia, and in a rebuttal, Russia seems to have threatened many of those foreign companies to arrest them, and many of those companies wanting to withdraw from Russia now, Russia says that they are going to face arrests and their assets will be seized. Do you believe that this will deter the West from now stepping in and even helping Ukraine at this moment of need?
Yes, there are numerous sanctions against Russia, but the most fundamental ones that would cut off them from cash to finance the war, like crude oil incomes, they are not seized, unfortunately. And until it is done, we cannot say that Russian government could finance the war. But already people feel a lot of calamities. increasing prices, shortages of certain goods, and many companies, many international, more than 400 international companies stopped working in Russia. And indeed, as you say, Russia tries to nationalize, but if they do so, there are more than 500 billion dollars value of Russian assets abroad that can be seized in retaliation. So there is more to seize for internationals than for Russia. In this way, if they start doing what they threat, the retaliation will be much, much bigger for them.
All right. Salomia, here, even as Russia and Ukraine attempts at talks and they in fact call it progressive, they're attempting to come to some conclusion at the earliest. While that said, we hear that President Zelensky has now budged from his adamant stance. Could you elaborate on what have you stepped down on just to end the war?
So first of all, probably today will be the fourth round of the meeting between Ukrainian and Russian delegation. We know that they have discussions almost every day online, but you have to understand that we cannot step back and say that we will find compromise on actually on all four issues, demands from their side. That's first of all to recognize Crimea as a part of Russia. That's impossible what they demand. That's to recognize so-called republics, Luhansk and Donetsk, being as an independent states. That's actually the second point, which is can be defined any compromises. And of course, to demilitarize the armed forces. That's an issue which will kill Ukraine, and it will be that will be the suicide without having any battle. So I'm not sure that we will hear before the meeting from our working group what they're going to discuss. But we hope at least that they will find compromise on humanitarian corridors, which are not effective and not in all, especially in Mariupol, where we actually do not have for this almost 15 days of their siege. No one can just leave the town, and nothing can be brought to Mariupol. I think that has to be the issue number one, and we hope Mariupol will be the point to discuss for this meeting.
Right. Serhi, a quick word from you. Finally, we're looking at attempts to end this war. But while that said, you have the United States accusing Russia of now reaching out to China. China helping Russia with military aid only now raises tensions and worries as to where this war is headed towards.
China is a country with a long history.
Salomia wants to say something. Salomia, what were you saying?
Yes, China just a couple hours ago said that it was false. Russia didn't ask anything, and they didn't have any appeal to China.
All right.
So we need just to.
So these are false allegations made by a U.S. official. That's what we hear. But Serhi, yeah, please continue.
Yeah, we're saying that China is a country with a long history, and for sure they have a long time of relations with Russians. But what we see for right now, I hope that China will step back and also will push on Russians not to destroy not their only their economics, but the economics of the whole region, of the whole Europe, of the whole world economic. Because for right now, all these crazy things are going on. They're destroying economic of the world economic.
Right.
I'm not saying about the safeness of the nuclear weapon, etc. No, it's economic. Because if we wait that Russian people will stand up for their rights and they will announce that they don't want to live like they're living right now. They also need to evacuate from Russia. They're afraid of what is going on there and what will happen there soon. No food, no water, no money, no cash, no any kind of services like normal people used to do.
Absolutely,
3 weeks
Sergey.
ago.
We know the plight on ground in Ukraine, and it's terrible. This is the worst kind of humanitarian crisis, and we're really worried for the many civilians and your people who are attempting to evacuate from that war-torn combat region. But unfortunately, they seem to be worried as shelling and strikes still continue in many of those areas. In the latest, we hear that Russian attacks have now landed at a residential building in Kyiv, and that's what's worrisome. Civilians, are they the target? That's the question. Ukrainians claim that they are being targeted heavily, but Russia, of course, refraining from it, saying that their targets are only military targets. Thank you very much, our panelists, for joining us. India Today's largest team of reporters on ground, bringing us all those factual details from all parts of Ukraine, those combat regions. We're going to continue our relentless coverage. Stay with us.